met her through Josh, actually. He found her on YouTube.
Mhm.
And he was like, this woman just really breaks down this whole Enneagram thing really, really well. And I think you would benefit from learning from her. And so he's like, where's your credit card? I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to sign you up for her courses. And I'm like, okay. And I'm not, I don't like to commit to things. I don't like to sign up for anything where it's like I have to do homework or anything like that. But anyways, I did it, and I got on Zoom calls with her weekly, and she gave me like all a bunch of incredible resources on myself, on how I interact with others, the things in my head that are holding me back, my natural tendencies that either push me in a direction or pull me away from it, pull me away from something. And so I was like, I don't know how to reiterate any of this to my team. You're the Hillary, you're the expert in it. So I told everybody to do the Enneagram test before the call. So they kind of got a feeling for what their results are or what their secondary results are. And so we have a chat here if you want to ask a question while Hillary's talking, or maybe she's going to pull and do an open forum. But Hillary, I'm going to give you the floor and mute my line.
Awesome. Well, nice to meet everybody. Thank you for having me and let me crash your team meeting. I mean, I'm kind of like inspired by your guys' goals. And I was thinking, what perfect time to try and hit that goal when we're all gonna, kind of get through Christmas and go, what the heck, we need to get this COVID weight off. So I'm pretty impressed with what you guys are doing. Oh, like she said, I am an Enneagram life coach. And tonight, I think, because, I want to honor your guys' time. I know you guys have all taken the test. I think the best thing would be if I can go through all 9 types very briefly so that you guys could understand which one is your type. And here's how it works. You guys know there's 9 types. When you took your test, it more than likely gave you 3 top results. And the top one, you might go, oh, that's mine for sure. That's not how it works, because when you take the test, you might be having a day, be stressed out, or not thinking about your life as a whole. You might be thinking about where you're at today, which is probably a much healthier place. So you might even test towards your health arrow. So tonight, really lean in and listen to when I talk about these core desires, these core fears, and kind of like the wounding childhood message and little things like that. I'm going to try to get through all 9 types because there is a lot more people than I was expecting. So I'm like, oh, okay, we might need to do all 9 types because I know you guys all got different top 3s. And so I will just cover that. Feel free if anybody has a question. I can answer questions as we go. If you're like, wait, what did that mean? No big deal. But yeah, like I said, I would love to get through this. And then once I kind of, as I'm going to, I don't know if you guys are writing things down or whatever, but as I start with the 1, if you're like, you know what, that one really sounds like me, I'm going to teach on how to get along with you. And so by the end of this, hopefully you guys all will go, oh yeah, so listen how to get along with each one. That way, once you guys know each other's numbers, this might help you a little bit. So let's get started so that we can get through all 9 numbers. I'm going to start with the 1. I know I had received some people's results, and there was a 1 in quite a few people. So lean in if the 1 was your top 3. And what the 1 is the moral perfectionist. They are ethical. Okay, I saw Kelly King raise her hand. Okay, perfect. So yes, ethical, reliable, productive, wise, self-disciplined, orderly. But here's the hard part, and I'm sorry I have to do it. At their worst, judgmental, inflexible, jealous, anxious, controlling. So that's your at the worst and at your best. And we're talking worse. So there's 9 levels of health. It doesn't mean you're like that every day. It just means that's where you can go, on a really bad day. The core fear of the 1, fear of being bad, evil, angry, wrong. They fear being wrong. Their core desire, they want to have integrity, balance, virtue, and they want to be known as the good one, the good boy or the good girl. That's the desire of their heart. And here's one thing that I love to share that helps you understand each other at a deeper level. Why, you know, the wounding childhood message of the one, this, all of these always break my heart a little bit. This is what they were hearing when they were a kid. It's not okay to make mistakes. So that's what's motivating them. That fear of like, I can't make a mistake. I need to be good. And so it doesn't have to be your parents or anything. We never know why we were hearing that, but that's the message that they were hearing. So they tried to be really good and do everything the right way so that they didn't make a mistake. And so for them, the how to get along with them, make sure you take your share of the responsibilities so I don't end up with all the work. Kelly, do you relate to that? Yep, okay. I'm very hard on myself, so reassure me often and tell me that I am doing good. Tell me when you value my advice. Be fair and considerate as I am. First, listen to my worries and concerns, then help me to lighten up by having fun. And so that is just a little bit about the moral perfectionist. I know, we do have a 2, right? Nicola, you're a 2. 2 wing 3. I think I know that.
Yes.
Oh, Jamie's raising her hand.
Yes,
Okay,
I'm a 2.
perfect.
Yes, I'm a 2.
Okay, sweet. So the 2, they're called the supportive advisor, or they're also known as the helper. They're loving, compassionate, generous, nurturing, tuned into how people feel. They can walk in a room and understand how people are feeling. And that's them at their best. At their worst, they can be needy, overly accommodating, intrusive, and indirect. And so that's where they go when they're at their worst. Their core fear is the fear of being unloved or unwanted for just being themselves. And so for the 2, that means they're afraid if they're not helping and doing, that they're not lovable. And so their core desire is to be loved and wanted for just being themselves. And so that they're chasing that, but their fear, and your fear is always what you're running away from, and your desire is what you're running towards. And so for them, it's like, those go hand in hand, where they want to be loved for purely who they are, but they're afraid that they wouldn't be if they didn't do. And the wounding childhood message of the type 2 would have been, it's not okay to have your own needs. And so when they were growing up, it might have been something like, either they were told every time they did something for another child, for another person, they were constantly helping. They were told like, good job, good job. And we're developing these little things in our brain for survival. And the little 2 would think, well, maybe I can't have my own needs. Maybe I'm only loved if I'm doing. So that's what we have to break out of, that wounding childhood message, and make sure that we're no longer seeing the world through that lens. So the how to get along with a 2, tell me specifically what you appreciate about me. Take a real interest in my problems, even though I'm going to try to focus that energy right back on you, that attention right back on you. That 2 is going to have a hard time, but you need to make sure that you don't let them just keep focusing it on you. Enjoy sharing fun with them. If you need to point out something negative, please be gentle and tell me a few affirming things as well. I can be extremely extremely sensitive to criticism. So after that, do we have, other than the one I know, anyone else know that you're a 2? Does that hit home? I see some no's. Yeah. Oh, I see Catherine raising her hand. Sweet. Okay. Oh, I'm not even noticing the chat over here. Sorry about that. I'm like all into watching your guys' faces. Okay. I'm seeing 9, wing 6, 3, 1. Oh, you have everybody all over the board. Okay, Jessica, you said run from, repeat that. Is that for the 2? Was that for the 2? Yes. Okay. Running from, core fear, being worthless, a failure, incapable, not being valued for being themselves, not being, valued for not having to perform, not having to do something for you. So that's what they're running away from. They don't want to be inefficient, unsuccessful. I'm sorry, I'm reading the threes. I'm like, why is that not making sense? I'd already put it over here. I'm like, wait, the core fear of me. No. They're running away from not being valued and wanted for being themselves only. That's theirs. So thank you. Oh yeah, thank you for that. All right, so that's what they're running away from, is that fear of not being valued and loved for just being themselves. So, okay, I'm moving on to the three. I know I saw three in a lot of people's top three. So they are the successful achiever, at their best, optimistic, self-affirming, efficient, self-propelled, energetic. At their worst, self-promoting, pretentious, vain, a workaholic, overly competitive. So that's the two, at their best and at their worst. The core fear of the three, what they're running away from, is being worthless, a failure, incapable, unimpressive, unsuccessful, inefficient, and exposed. So that's what they're running away from. What they're running towards is to feel valuable and worthwhile by just being themselves without having to perform. So the two, they don't want to do. The three, it's not having to perform. They just want you to love them, even if they're not, having to do anything, be successful, anything like that. Now, the wounding childhood message of the three is it's not okay to have your own feelings and identity. And so this is something when they were little, maybe they were constantly told, like, why can't you like so-and-so, or it's not okay, like, you might have these big feelings or get hurt, or or whatever the three's going through. Their little message was constantly hearing, like, oh, I'm not allowed to have my own feelings. Like, you have them all. Like, the other person can have the feelings, but maybe they can't be themselves and have their own identity and their own feelings. And so that's what would have been their wounding childhood message. How to get along with them. Tell me that you like being around me. Is that true? Mm-hmm. Tell me how proud you are of me and my accomplishments. Please do not interrupt me while I am working. Give me honest, but not unduly critical or judgmental feedback. Help me to keep my surroundings harmonious and peaceful. So is there a lot of threes? Anybody? I'll look at the chat this time. Anybody? A three? Relate to the three? 3-wing-2, I saw Laura, 3-wing-2 up there. Spot on. Okay, perfect. Okay, anyone have any 4? Oh yeah, we do. Yolanda, 4-wing-5. Oh, I love that. Yep, spot on. Okay, so the 4, these are your romantic individualists. They, at their best, authentic, compassionate, expressive, creative, supportive. At their worst, withdrawn, exaggerated, moody, self-pitying, moralistic, self-absorbed. So that's the at their best and at their worst. Now their core fear, what? That's their lowest. Their core fear is of being inadequate. This is what they're running away from. Emotionally cut off, plain, ordinary, commonplace, abandoned, or defective. So that's their core fear. Their core desire, what they're running towards, to find themselves and their unique significance. And so the 4, a lot of times will feel like something's actually missing in them. Everybody else appears normal and like they have it together, but there's something fundamentally missing in the 4, which it's not, but that's how they feel. Their wounding childhood message is it's not okay to be too functional or too happy. And so for them, they would have felt like, because they have deep emotions, they can get really happy or really sad, the moodiness, or, and so they would have felt like all of that is not okay. Like they would have felt different than everybody else because they can feel things so deeply. And so for them, how to get along with them, Give me plenty of compliments. They mean a lot to a type 4. Be supportive of me by helping me to love myself and see myself, see my value. Respect my unique abilities and having good intuition and vision. Please realize I may not want to be cheered up when I am sad. Don't tell me I'm too sensitive or dramatic. So I don't know, anybody relate to that? I see Yolanda. Yup. There you guys go. How to get along with Yolanda. Okay, so the next one, we're going to go through the 5. Did anybody have a 5 actually? I don't know if I even saw a 5 in these comments.
I think Yolanda was a wing 5.
Wing 5, yeah. Okay, I'll still cover it because you never know. All right, so for them, this is the investigative thinker. They are at their best, analytical, wise, sensitive, objective, knowledge is a big thing to them. At their worst, stingy, stubborn, distant, and critical of others, and cynical. Their core fear, what they're running away from, fear of obligation, emptiness, and being incompetent, being ignorant, having their time and space invaded. Their core desire is to be capable and competent. And their wounding childhood message is it's not okay to be too comfortable in the world. And so they just, as a child, would have thought, like, I think how that one is it's more to do with they feel like their needs, like they need too much, like their needs, they're too, how can I put this, where everything they need, this, they're constantly wanting to be curious and read and grow in knowledge, and people would have been like, no, that's just too much. It's, and that would have been their little message in their head. And so how to get along with a 5 is don't be clingy, be independent around them, because they're very independent. They're not clingy at all. They actually would be the one on that you would feel like has the least emotions, unemotional. Do not share with others what they have confided in private. Trust and confidentiality are extremely important to them. And then just give them their own space and time and privacy so they can recharge, because they have a smaller battery than the normal person. So even be thinking of people in your life that might be a 5. They're the ones that they're going to withdraw and need a lot of time to recharge. So, all right, moving on to the 6. We're doing okay on time. Oh, Lexi has a 6, 1, and 3. Awesome. Sweet. Okay, so we'll move on to the 6. They are called the loyalist. At their best, loyal, likable, prepared, trustworthy, practical, responsible. At their worst, dependent, judgmental, paranoid, defensive, self-doubting. They really doubt themselves a lot. Their core fear, they are afraid of fear itself. And so that's where they're running away from. They're afraid of danger, uncertainty, chaos, not having any support, fear of being blamed, in trouble, and alone. Their core desire to have security, support, and guidance. That is what they are running towards all the time. And so the 6 a lot of times are going to look outside. Oh, I see someone. That's so me. They're going to look outside themselves to ask people, like, what do you think? And especially depending on the subtype, which we literally have no time to cover that today. There's some 6s that are always like, okay, I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. So if you say I'm doing the right thing, then I am, and I can move on. So, oh, I see a Kindle. Yes, perfect. Their wounding childhood message was it's not okay to trust yourself. And so for them, they would have just constantly maybe, spoke up or made decisions or done stuff, and it just never seemed to work out. And they would think, it's another reason why I can't trust myself. I can trust other people, but trusting myself I shouldn't do it. So how to get along with them. Be direct and clear with a type 6. Listen to them carefully. Do not judge them for their anxiety, because a lot of times they actually, I'm not covering this tonight, but they have a core weakness of anxiety. So don't judge them for that. Reassure them that everything is going to be okay. Can so relate, but it's my number 2. Oh yeah. The 2 and the 6, wait, what was yours? 9. Yes. So there's a reason why if you end up being a 9, Jessica, it's because the 9 goes towards a 6 and stress. And so any of the harder, worst parts I'm reading, the 9 is going to relate to. Okay, the next thing, how to get along with them. Tell me and show me that you support me. Acknowledge that I'm loyal, responsible, and supportive. And I will say one more thing for you, Jessica. If you really relate to this, it doesn't matter that the 9's your top. The top doesn't mean anything. When I teach about the 9, just really think about which of the core fears and good core desires are yours, and then you'll know. But they both go towards each other. So it does make sense you could feel like both. Okay. 7. I see a lot of 7s in some people's numbers, or at least their top 3s, which makes sense. Hubby is a 7. Yep, he is. Okay. So they are called the enthusiast. They, at their best, fun-loving, supportive, productive, enthusiastic, quick, confident, charming. At their worst, self-focused, impulsive, rebellious, distracted. They can be manic. They can be like, oh, wait, we should go here. Oh, wait, maybe no, we should go here. And that's them at their worst. Their core fear of being incomplete, inferior, limited, bored, trapped in emotional pain. That's a big one for FOMO, fear of missing out, sadness. They fear all sad emotions or anything like that. That's why they're constantly running after fun and adventure so that they don't have to deal with it. Their core desire is to be satisfied and fully content. And so that's what they're chasing, to find that satisfaction, to find that contentment in life. Their wounding childhood message was, it's not okay to depend on anyone for anything. And so as a child, they might not have felt like they can depend on the adults that were in their life. It doesn't, maybe parents, maybe a teacher, we just don't know what it would have been, but they would have felt some way that it's not okay. I have to depend on myself first. So, and then there, how to get along with me. Share conversation, laughter, fun, spontaneous activities when possible. Listen patiently to their grand visions and stories without shutting them down. Be encouraging and positive, even when giving them feedback, as criticism is very painful for a type 7 and discouraging and can deflate them. Encourage them to savor the present moment with a grateful heart. And so that's one way that you can get along with them. So anyone after that, do you feel like you're a 7? Maybe not. All right, so I'll move on to the 8. How many 8s do we think we have or in there? Kelly, 8 up and 8, 1, and 7 was yours. Yeah, that makes actually a lot of sense. Those 8s and 1, because 8s and 1s are very similar. And so this will be another one. Lean into this one and see which one you mostly relate to. So they are called the challenger. They are at their best, compassionate, inspiring, resilient, loyal, energetic, self-confident, protective. At their worst though, loud, excessive, controlling, rebellious, self-centered. I see a lot of laughing. The core fear of the type 8, fear of being weak, powerless, underestimated, disempowered, humiliated, vulnerable. That's a huge one for the 8. They fear being actually vulnerable, harmed, Oh, got one. Yep. Melinda, yep, me. Um, and okay, and the other two fears that they have is they fear being manipulated or at the mercy of injustice. That's a big fear of theirs. Their core desire is to protect themselves and those that they love. So the people that they are loyal to, that's who they're going to protect. That's what they're running towards all the time, protecting themselves and those that they love. And they will die for who they love and for who they're protecting. Like they have this like this loyalty to them that, you know, they would, you know, do anything for who they love. Their wounding childhood message is it's not okay to be too vulnerable or oh, she did tell me she calls you Mama Bear. And actually the 8-wing 9 is called a bear. That is funny. The wounding childhood message is it's not okay to be vulnerable or to trust anyone. And so for them, that was what happened when they were growing up. Like anytime they were vulnerable, they got hurt. And so they would have built this little like protective thing around their heart and said, nope, I don't want to be vulnerable and get hurt. How to get along with me. Stand up for yourself and for me. Be confident, strong, and direct. Notice that I am tender and have a vulnerable side by a strong exterior. They really do. They have a vulnerable heart. And if you get to see their vulnerable heart, that means you are someone really special to them. Acknowledge the contributions that they make, but don't flatter them. They don't want fakeness. They don't want flattery. They just want it to be truthful and direct. And their last thing is they often speak in a direct and assertive way, but do not automatically assume they're personally attacking you. A lot of times it's just they're in this assertive stance where they just feel like they come at you, but they actually don't feel like they're doing that. They're just like, I'm just being direct and honest, and that's what they would want back. So that's how to get along with them. Okay. Okay. She missed the how to get along with me, I think. I saw her jump up and leave. We might have to recover that. Okay, so the last one is the type 9. And I know we had some 9s in here. Lindsay's raising her hand. Okay, sweet. Jessica, me. This may be a stupid question, but how can we use this to our benefit in life or fix what we don't like? So I don't have any time to teach on this tonight, but every number has a growth arrow and a stress arrow. And there's so much information in those that will definitely help you be able to recognize when you're growing and doing well and staying on that path. And then the stress arrow is like a bumpy thing where, you know, you're like going towards your stress and they'll give you a red flag to not go that way. But there's lots and lots and lots of layers to the Enneagram that can help you with all of that. So let's move on to the type 9. At their best, pleasant, peaceful, generous, patient, accepting, open-minded, and empathetic. At their worst, spaced out, forgetful, stubborn, resigned, passive-aggressive, and unassertive. So that's at their worst. Core fear of being in conflict, loveless, separated, uncomfortable, and preach, unimportant, overlooked, huge thing for the 9. They fear being overlooked, alone, or in an inharmonious relationship. And so they need harmony and peace because what's their core desire? What are they running towards? To have inner stability and peace of mind. That's what they're always working towards. Huh? Yeah, keep listening. Maybe you are a 9. The wounding childhood message. So this is one for the 9. It's not okay to assert yourself. So when they were a little child, whenever they asserted themselves, they were met with, maybe whoever they were asserting themselves made them feel stupid, unimportant, overlooked, or their voice didn't even get heard. They might have been in a crowd and there's bigger personalities and they try to assert themselves, but everybody else is too. And they would walk away like they got the message. Like, it's just, nobody hears me. It's not okay to assert myself. So that's what we teach the nines. All of these types, your wounding childhood message, we teach how to kind of overcome that and stop living with what you decided as a child, because we're adults now. We don't have to live with those wounding childhood messages anymore. We don't have to let them dictate our life. So how to get along with a 9, be patient with me and don't rush me. Tell me that my presence matters. Listen to me until I'm finished talking. I enjoy discussions, but dislike confrontations, because one of that core fear is being in conflict. Like, so anything that's where they have to confront, no. They tend to focus on others, so take the time to really focus on them. So that's your 9. How are we doing? How's everyone feeling?
I'm like diligently trying to write down everybody's how to get along.
Right? I can send them to you.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Take time. You said something on the 9. Take time.
Let's see. Listen to my until I'm finished talking. I enjoy discussions, but dislike confrontations. I tend to focus on others, so take time to really focus in on me.
Okay.
How much time do you feel like we have left? Do you want discussion time? Is there?
Yeah, I mean, we usually end around 10 East Coast times, about an hour call. So if you guys had some questions for Hillary, now that you've gotten a breakdown of the different types, kind of like whether it's in business or mentoring one of your coaches, or maybe some fears and inviting based on your personality, what questions do you guys have? You can unmute your line or you can type it in the chat. I can read out loud.
What numbers get along with 2s? There was a lot of 2s in our group. Like, which people work best with 2s?
I would say everybody can work a 2.
Okay.
Like, because the 2 helps everybody. And honestly, it's really great to have 2s on your team, but make sure, that they just feel like they aren't having to do everything.
Yeah, that's Nicola. Nicola is definitely a
Yeah.
2.
Uh-huh.
You described her to a T. Lexi said, the more I hear about each one, the more unsure of which one I am. I've taken the few tests, and every time I take the test, I get different answers.
Okay, so that's super common because I don't even know what tests you guys take. I know I gave one test that I recommended, but I don't even have people take tests when they're with me because I don't know who's making these tests, and so every test is different. And think about this, every test you're coming across, a certain number made it. And so you're getting it through the lens of that type. And so to me, tests just help us narrow down your type to like 3. That's why I say, just give me your top 3. It really just lets us go, okay, let go of 6 of them. And now we can work in the 3. The key is what I talked about. And I actually didn't cover all the cores. So there's 4 cores that you listen for. It's the core weakness that I covered, the core desire that I covered. The 2 I didn't have time to cover is the core longing and the core weakness, also known as a deadly sin. Those are the 4 that you need to focus in on. And honestly, I do have a YouTube channel that talks about this. There's a basic video about that. That's what you need to look for on all the numbers that you're questioning yourself, and you're gonna feel like a few of them. That's okay. We have all 9. We all of them. If you ever notice on the test that give you your percentages, it actually gives you a little bit of all 9. That's because you have all 9. All we're trying to figure out is which one motivates you, because that's what's going to help you succeed in life and help you in life. So if you don't land on your actual type, you're not going to know like what actually motivates you, what gets you up in the morning, and then understand For example, if you're a type 3 actually goes towards a 6 in health. So listening to the healthy aspects of the 6 will help with 3, but they go towards a 9 in stress. And so it's important to know about that underside of the 9 for the 3. And so they now know the red flags to be looking for in their life and what would motivate them. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I'm just going to say, and there's lots of stuff on Instagram where people list, all those cores that you can read about. And then my next piece of advice would be, you don't have to know today. Take a little bit of time and let it soak in and go, okay, look at your actions and your motivations in the next few days. And ask yourself when you do something, why did I do that? That's the whole thing with the Enneagram. We're trying to figure out why.
So Laura had an interesting question. She said, I'm a 3, but I attract super shy people. Is there a way to attract people more like me?
Oh, that's so hard because everybody's like, it's a magnet towards a 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so it does make sense that the 3 is going to attract people that are shyer because they're they're like, oh, the 3 will motivate them. Is there a way to attract more people like you? I mean, yes, but I would say more people that are like you are probably hoping to attract people like themselves too. They're actually wanting to be in that leadership and, because the 3 has the drive and the drive for success and all of that. And so most people like you are probably going to want to be in your same lane. Yes. Yeah.
Laura, we're the same.
Yeah.
3 too.
Oh, the weakness of a 3. Did we get to that? Did we? Let me see. Okay. And like I have fun things that are like pet peeves, which we went over that in your last session. Yeah.
Can you go over a couple?
Yeah, I can go over
1 or 2.
Yeah.
One.
Yes, absolutely. We can kind of I'll say what the weakness of the 3, and then we can kind of close up with that. The weakness of the 3 is deceit. Because you're asking, I did not cover this. So there's this deceit, and what that is they deceive themselves into believing they are the image that they present. And so they're not liars by any means, but they might present an image sometimes, this like what they think people want them to be, and then they'll believe that image too. And so they just have to pay attention to that and work on that. Makes sense why I attract people who need to plan and have everything perfect before even starting, since I'm a 1. Yep, that's true. Okay, so couple pet peeves for each type. Type 1's pet peeves: when people break the rules, when people litter or don't clean up after themselves, when people don't follow established procedures and rules. So that's the 1's. The 2, when people put their own self-interest above others. When people do things without considering how it will impact other people. When people take advantage of their flexibility and generosity.
So if you want to know how to piss Nicola off, that's it right there.
That's true. Yep.
My gosh, did you really say
that? Sorry, keep going.
Okay, 3. Here you go. Here's yours. When people block my path to the goal. When people do not deliver on what they say they will do. When people waste my time. And people who are incompetent or not on board to help us move forward or execute on our plan. Truth? Truth. Laura said truth. Okay, 4's pet peeves: when people can't slow down long enough to get to know them. When people don't value the contribution or appreciate the work that they do. When their bosses make them spend a lot of time working on a mundane task that doesn't have any meaning to them at all. That is their pet peeve. Yes, I see Yolanda, yes, in that one. Okay, type 5s. I don't even know if we have a type 5, but I'll just say a couple of them. When people surprise me with a task at the last minute. When people interrupt me when I'm in the middle of a task. When people do sloppy work, that I have to deal with their mistakes. And some of you might actually relate to this, and that is going to be, if you are a type 8, that's the 5 is your stress arrow. So you might relate a little bit of the 5, or any of these, wherever you're going, some of these you might go, wait, that kind of bothers me too. The 6 is pet peeves. Oh, Katie, my husband's a 5. These are so true. I found a lot of husbands are 5s actually. And the 7 goes towards a 5 in health. And so they're going to use that knowledge and that piece in their work a lot of times. But the type 6 pet peeves, when people don't take my questions and doubts seriously. This is a big one for them. When people don't value my ability to poke holes in the plans as a way to strengthen the plans. And so they feel like if I'm saying, well, what if this, what if this, what if this, then it's going to be a stronger plan. When people prioritize speed over careful analysis of plans. Those are some pet peeves. Yes, I hear Jess. Yes, yes. Type 7 pet peeves. When meetings aren't run, or when meetings aren't well run, they're boring or they drag on and on. When people respond to my work with a lot of negativity, when people tell me their problems and expect me to fix them, when the people I work with aren't friendly and pleasant, and when people don't understand my need to have fun at work. So, I don't remember if we had any 7s. I know your husband is. Pet peeves of an 8. When people go behind my back or say things indirectly. When people perceive me as controlling, but I'm just trying to move things forward. Slow people. When people try to micromanage me, and when people mistreat people. Yes. Last one, 9s, pet peeves. When I'm overlooked and not consulted about projects and plans that I'm involved in and should have a say in. When people get into conflicts that could have been avoided. When people make it hard for me to say no to something that I don't want to do. And last one, when people take advantage of my easygoing nature and push me around and just assume I'm going to cooperate with whatever they want to do. Yes, I see Meredith shaking her head. All right. I'm getting you guys out on time. I can't believe how late it is for you guys. It's only 7:56 for me.
Crazy. I know, we're weird. We stay up way too late.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you so much, Hillary. The time that I've had with her, I've definitely learned a lot. So if you guys get some opportunities, maybe go into her YouTube channel and watch some of these videos for yourself. Just hearing like the pet peeves of certain numbers is like my natural tendency. So I'm like, oh crap. Like you had said somebody doesn't like when you don't just focus on the relationship and focus on them. You go too fast, and I have a tendency to just sometimes go too fast, and I'll do that, and it could totally drive the other person crazy. So it's just really insightful and helpful when it comes to mentoring a team, your relationships with your kids, your spouse, and better understanding yourself and not going down rabbit holes or putting yourself in a bad mind space. So
yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
So
You're
much.
so welcome. I see Yolanda, it's 11 for you. Holy cow.
Yes.
And thank you for subscribing, Jessica. I appreciate that. But you guys are welcome. It's my pleasure teaching this. I love teaching teams. Nothing motivates me or makes me happy to see everybody living in harmony. That's why I do this.
Love it.
Oh, and I'm a type 9. I don't even think I told you guys that. So that's why I'm like, peace and harmony, everybody. Peace be with you. That's what drives me. So.
All right. Well, go follow her on Instagram. Watch her YouTube videos for yourself and your types. And Hillary, thank you so much for being on tonight.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
All right. Bye, guys. Good night.
Good night.